Imagine a place so aggressively hot that birds might literally drop from the sky. I mean, the moisture just sucked right out of them before they even hit the ground.
Wow. Yeah, I can practically feel the sunburn just hearing that.
A place where the sun feels less like, a warm glow and more like a physical weight just pressing down on you.
Hmm.
Now, flip that coin instantly.
Mm.
Imagine a place so bitterly, aggressively cold that your breath turns to ice crystals before it even leaves your face.
Right.
Two completely different worlds, right? Fire and ice.
Yeah.
But in the language of geography, and especially for the UPSC syllabus, they share the exact same name.
Deserts.
Deserts.
It's a huge paradox, isn't it? We usually just think desert means heat. You know, the Sahara, camels, that relentless sun.
Exactly.
But biologically, geologically, desert isn't defined by the thermometer. It's all about the struggle for life and extreme aridity. It's about water or the severe lack of it.
And that is exactly where we're going today. We are decoding the extremes on Earth, looking at life in the deserts. This is our deep dive into the NCERT Class 7 Geography, Chapter 9.
But we're not just reading a textbook here. We're going to break down how life adapts and, crucially, link these concepts directly to the civil services exam.
We've got sources from the standard text all the way to the 2013 and 2014 mains papers to really flesh this out.
Because you have to move beyond just knowing the facts to understanding the why behind them.
Absolutely. But before we trek into the sands and the snow, I have a humble request for you, the learner tuning in. If you find value in these deep dives, please hit that subscribe button.
And strictly, if you are capable, maybe consider supporting us on Patreon. That support is literally what allows our team to keep creating this super useful content for you.
A massive warm shout out to all our current supporters. You guys are the engine behind this entire operation, seriously. And please don't forget to like this video and share a valuable comment. It really helps.
One more vital bit of housekeeping. We have free notes with practice PYQs, previous year questions, available right now on our public Telegram channel.
And for those who want the full archive, the private Telegram library, that's where you can get access to all the videos in this series at once, plus premium notes.
We're talking detailed notes, extra PYQs, and even model mains answers. To get into that, just DM us on the public channel. We'll get you sorted.
Okay, housekeeping done. Let's get to it. When I say desert, what's the image that pops into your head? For me, it's endless yellow dunes.
That's the classic cinematic image, but it's incomplete. Geographically, a desert is defined by three specific factors.
Okay.
Low rainfall, scanty vegetation, and extreme temperatures. Nowhere in that definition does it say hot or sand.
So the unifying theme is just aridity, lack of water.
Precisely. It's a moisture deficit, and depending on the temperature, you get a hot desert like the Sahara or a cold desert like Ladakh. But the core challenge for life is the same.
How do I survive without water? Okay, let's start with the big one then, the Sahara. I was looking at the data, and the scale of this place is, frankly, terrifying. It touches 11 countries.
11. I mean, count them. Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Sudan, Tunisia, Western Sahara. It just dominates North Africa.
And get this for perspective. The Sahara is about 8.54 million square kilometers. For our listeners trying to picture that, our entire country, India, is about 3.2 million square kilometers.
So it's nearly 3 times the size of India.
It's staggering.
It really is. And another misconception the source clears up is the landscape. You mentioned endless dunes, right?
Yeah, that's what I picture.
Well, while there are vast stretches of sand, a huge portion of the Sahara is actually gravel plains and elevated plateaus with, bare, rocky surfaces.
How high are we talking?
The text mentions they can be over 2,500 meters high.
2,500 meters. That's a proper mountain range inside the desert.
Exactly. And think about the physics of that. Rock heats up much faster than sand, so that surface radiates incredible heat, contributing to the extreme climate.
The source calls it scorching hot and parched dry. Give me a number. How hot does it get?
Well, there's a specific record from Al-Azizia in Libya back in 1922. The temperature hit 57.7 degrees Celsius.
57.7. That's basically halfway to boiling. You could literally fry an egg on a rock.
Easily. But here's the kicker, and this is so typical of desert climates. The nights can be freezing.
Wait, how? If the ground is baking at nearly 60 degrees, how does it just become freezing at night?
It's all about the lack of insulation. In a more humid place, clouds act like a blanket, trapping heat. But in a desert, the sky is clear.
So there's no blanket.
Exactly. The moment the sun sets, all that heat just radiates straight up into space. There's nothing to hold it back. So the temperature plummets, sometimes right down near 0 degrees.
You bake during the day and you freeze at night. What a brutal cycle.
Yeah.
The source mentioned something that it completely changed how I see this region. The Green Sahara.
Ah, yes, the cave paintings. This is a favorite topic for geographers because it just disrupts our whole sense of permanence.
It blew my mind. We think of the Sahara as, eternal sands. But these cave paintings show it used to be a lush green plain. They show rivers with crocodiles.
Elephants, lions, giraffes, ostriches. It was a thriving savanna.
And this wasn't millions of years ago, right?
No, just a few thousand years ago. A shift in the Earth's orbit and tilt caused the rain belts to move, and it transformed that region into what we see today. A stark reminder of how powerful climate change can be.
It's terrifying. But okay, life still finds a way. The text lists cactus, date palms, acacia trees, and animals like camels, hyenas, jackals, scorpions.
Before we move on to how humans survive there, I want to pause. We promised a deep dive that connects to the exams.
Right, the UPSC connections.
Okay, so if you look at the 2013 GS1 mains paper, question 21, it asks something very specific. Major hot deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20-30 degrees N latitudes and on the western side of the continents. Why?
That's a fantastic question. It's not enough to know that the Sahara is there. You have to know why it's there.
Precisely. And the NCERT chapter gives us the context, but we have to put the answer together. So why are they on the western margins?
I'm guessing it has to do with wind patterns.
Spot on. It's about the trade winds. In the northern hemisphere, between those latitudes, the trade winds blow from the northeast to the southwest.
Okay, so they're blowing from the interior of the continent outwards.
Correct. They're offshore winds. Since they're blowing from land to sea, they just don't carry any moisture. They're dry. By the time they reach the western edge of a continent, they have no rain left to give.
That makes sense. But isn't there another factor, something to do with the ocean itself?
Yes, the cold ocean currents. The western coasts of continents in these latitudes often have cold currents running alongside them. For the Sahara, it's the Canary Current.
And cold water means less evaporation.
Exactly. Less evaporation means fewer clouds. And cold air just can't hold as much moisture as warm air. So the air over these coasts is stable and dry. It resists forming rain clouds.
So you have dry winds blowing off the land and a cold ocean that refuses to make rain clouds. It's a double whammy of dryness.
That is the why. That's how you use a basic source to prep for an advanced exam. When you read a location, ask why it's there.
That's a pro tip. Okay, back to the ground. We have people actually living there. The source talks about the Bedouins and the Tuaregs.
These are the nomadic tribes. Their entire lifestyle is an adaptation. They rear livestock, goats, sheep, camels. These animals are their lifeblood.
The text mentions they use everything. Hides for leather slippers, water bottles, hair for mats, carpets, blankets. Nothing goes to waste.
And their clothing, the heavy robes.
Yeah, that seems so counterintuitive. It's 50 degrees out. Why are you wearing a heavy robe?
You'd regret shorts pretty quickly. The heavy robes actually provide insulation. They trap a layer of air around your body, keeping your own moisture in and the scorching heat out. And it protects you from dust storms.
It's basically a desert spacesuit.
Yeah.
But not everyone is a nomad. You've got settled populations around an oasis, so how does an oasis form? Is it just a random puddle?
It's not random. The wind blows away the sand, right? It creates a depression, like scooping sand out of a bowl.
A big hole in the ground.
Right. And if that depression gets deep enough, it can hit the underground water table. Once it taps into that, the water seeps up to the surface.
And suddenly you have life.
You have life. People settle, they grow date palms, rice, wheat, barley. The source mentions the Tafile Oasis in Morocco. It's huge. About 13,000 square kilometers.
That's incredible. And the text also mentions Egyptian cotton.
Yes, grown in the Nile Valley, a world-famous cash crop. It shows that with water management, even a desert can be economically productive.
But it's not just agriculture changing things, is it? The source points to a huge driver of modernization. Oil.
That's the game changer. The discovery of oil in Algeria, Libya, Egypt, it transformed the Sahara from a wasteland to a strategic asset. Plus minerals like iron, phosphorus, manganese, uranium.
The source paints this really vivid picture. It says, gleaming glass-cased office buildings tower over mosques and superhighways crisscross the ancient camel paths.
It's a collision of time periods. Trucks replacing camels in the salt trade. Tuaregs, who were nomadic herdsmen, are now acting as guides for tourists.
And many are finding jobs in oil and gas, moving to the cities. It's a global story, but it feels sharper here.
Speaking of sharp, let's spin the globe. Let's go to the other extreme.
Yes. From the scorching sands of Africa, we're heading to the Great Himalayas. Welcome to Ladakh.
The cold desert. A fascinating comparison. It lies on the eastern side of Jammu and Kashmir, enclosed by the Karakoram Range in the north and the Zanskar Mountains in the south.
With the Indus River cutting right through it. And the defining feature here is the altitude, right?
Altitude is destiny here. It varies from about 3,000 meters in Kargil to over 8,000 meters in the Karakoram. Because of this, the climate is extremely cold and dry. But there's a nuance with the air.
The air density.
Exactly. The air is so thin that the heat of the sun is felt intensely. It sounds contradictory, doesn't it? It's freezing, but the sun burns.
I loved this specific warning in the text. It calls it a double danger. It says, if you sit in the sun with your feet in the shade, you can suffer from sunstroke and frostbite at the same time.
That's wild.
It's wild, but it perfectly illustrates the lack of atmosphere. In the shade, it's freezing. In the sun, the direct radiation is just burning you.
And the temperatures. Summer days are just above 0 degrees Celsius. Night temperatures drop well below -30. In winter, it stays below -40 for most of the time.
And because it's in the rain shadow of the Himalayas, it gets almost no precipitation. As low as 10 centimeters a year. It's as dry as the Sahara, just frozen.
Which leads to very sparse vegetation. Scanty patches of grass and shrubs, but in the valleys you do see groves of willows and poplars.
Okay, here's a fun fact from the source I bet most people don't know. Do you watch cricket?
Of course.
The best cricket bats. Yeah. They're made from the wood of the willow trees found right there in Ladakh.
A great connection. It's because the wood is light yet incredibly strong. Another adaptation.
The wildlife is unique too. Wild goats, wild sheep, and the yak, which is basically the camel of the cold desert.
But we have to mention the chiru, the Tibetan antelope. It's endangered because it was hunted for its chartreuse wool. Incredibly light, incredibly warm, and, well, that made it too valuable.
And the people. A mix of Muslims and Buddhists. The landscape is dotted with these beautiful Buddhist monasteries, the Gompas.
Yes. Places like Hemis, Thixi, She, Lamayuru, they really define the cultural landscape.
And life is hard. In the short summer, they cultivate barley, potatoes, beans, but in the winter it's too harsh to farm. So what do?
This is a brilliant social adaptation. They can't work the fields, so they engage in festivities and ceremonies. When the weather forces you indoors, you intentionally build community. You celebrate to keep society knit together.
That's fascinating. Survival through socialization. The text also specifically highlights the role of women in Ladakh, says they're incredibly hardworking.
It's not just domestic work. They run shops. They manage small businesses. They're often the economic backbone of the family.
And tourism is opening things up. People come from all over to trek and visit the Gompas.
Connectivity has improved. There's the National Highway 1A connecting Leh to Kashmir via Zojila Pass, and the famous Manali-Leh Highway, which crosses 4 major passes.
Rotangla, Baralachala, Lungalachala, and Kanglangla.
For our UPSC friends, pay attention to that list. The sequence is a classic exam question, but remember, that highway is only open between July and September. The rest of the year, the cold desert is largely cut off.
So what's the big takeaway here? We've seen fire and we've seen ice.
I think the core theme is adaptation. Whether it's the Bedouin wearing heavy robes or the Ladakhi using yak wool, humans and nature find a way to exist in these extreme margins.
It's incredible resilience.
And for our UPSC aspirants listening, remember the connections. When you think of an oasis, think about the geological process of depressions. When you think of the Sahara, recall that 2013 question about why it's on the western margin.
Don't just memorize the list of monasteries. Understand the lifestyle that built them.
And one final housekeeping reminder before we sign off.
Yes. If you are capable, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Huge shout out to everyone already supporting us. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments.
And check the Telegram channels, public for the free notes and PYQs, and DM us on the public channel to join the private library for all the premium content.
I want to leave you with one final thought. We talked about how the Sahara was once lush and green, full of rivers, before the climate shifted. We talked about Ladakh, where glaciers are a lifeline but are so sensitive to rising temperatures. As we study these extremes for an exam, maybe ask yourself, how permanent are the climates we take for granted today?
A sobering but very necessary question.
Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.